Exciting edition of Sports Extra Ordinary Weekend edition here on Atlantic Television Network. On this very edition of the program, it is a very special weekend, and so we'll take a look at the Australian Open that gets underway in few hours from now. Beyond that, the race to qualify for the quarterfinals of the CAF Football Cup competitions are ongoing, both in the Champions League and in the CAF Confederations Cup. We look at the teams that have the chance of qualifying. Meanwhile, just two have qualified, one in the CAF Champions League and one in the CAF Confederations Cup, with match day 5 here with us. So we'll take a look at the teams and see what chances our own Yimba International have to qualify for the quarterfinal stage of this year's CAF Confederations Cup. Details of these and many more will be yours when we return from the break.
time.
You need to retain his title. I'm talking about...
Yeah.
Okay, nice to have you.
Mr. Siriwabu.
Okay, if you are here, we would like to welcome you to Sports Extra on a weekend edition here on Atlantic Television Network.
Thank you so much. It's been a very, very busy day, and fortunately for me, I'm here, and for us, I'm here, and we can talk sports.
Okay, let's get started with you with the Australian Open, the 113th edition of the Australian Open, who incidentally is the 57th in the Open era, is here with us in the next 20 hours or thereabouts. You know that the time difference between us and Australia is quite big. But do you see the defending champions, getting back to their title again? Talking about Aryna Sabalenka for the female and Jannik Sinner for the male.
For the female, I start with the ladies. For the female, Aryna Sabalenka has a really, really big chance. She's done it twice before, for a hat-trick of wins at the Australian Open, and we all know it's her strong forte. She big opponents or rivals, Iga Swiatek. For the Australian Open, that's not really Iga's court. Iga is better on clay and on grass. And then for Coco Gauff, well, yes, we can say she did a lot of things last year, but she didn't come home with a Grand Slam last season. So it's a chance for Sabalenka to get that hat-trick wins at the Australian Open.
Okay, let's look at the male now. But you talked about Iga Swiatek, that she's there. There's a certain Jasmine as well, amongst that. At least within the top 10, I'm not too sure that Sabalenka will have it so nice. But let's stay away from the female and go to the male. Jannik Sinner has been number one, in year 2024 and up till 2025. He's been dogged with the controversy of being cleared twice for having a system with banned substance. Do you think he has the presence of mind to defend his title in Australia?
On another show earlier today, I talked about the fact that Jannik Sinner has a lot of competition when it comes to retaining the Australian Open. Apart from the other players, the other very good players on the male court, apart from the likes of Novak Djokovic, Alcaraz, and then of course Jannik Sinner and Taylor Fritz. Jannik Sinner has this issue with the Court of Appeal for Sports to battle with. He's scheduled to appear for a hearing in April, as early as April. It's 3 months away, but it could also be playing somewhere around his mind, and that could also cause a lot of distraction for him. So that's one of the reasons why I don't think he would find easy in Australia, because he has that issue. And talking about the Court of Appeal for Sports, I for one feel it's right. It's the right thing to do, because I wasn't really happy with the kind of excuses that he put forth. And if you remember what Nikirios said, he said it was bad for the sport of tennis to have two number ones, talking about Iga Swiatek and Jannik Sinner with doping controversy. So kudos to the Court of Appeal for Sports. The earlier we get this thing trashed down to the letter, the better. But I think it's going to be playing on Jannik Sinner's mind, and I think it's going to act as a distraction as he tends to get this Australian Open.
Australian Open, over 149 billion naira will be at stake at the Australian Open, and quite a lot of money if you ask me there. But let me still stay with you, Okui. There is a certain Novak Djokovic. He has dropped on the ranking, no longer world number one in male tennis, but he seems to be the man a lot of people will be coming to watch in Australia. He has Grand Slam number 24 already, and is looking forward to breaking that record of having an additional one, which could be number 25, and no male or female in the world has garnered that number of Grand Slam in tennis, both in the Open, era. So now, do you see Novak Djokovic, navigating the tension of winning Grand Slam number 25 at the Australian Open, getting it over, in spite of what he has been through in 2024, where he won less than expected of him?
Yeah, you could say 2024 wasn't really a good year for Novak, but despite that, he still got that Olympic gold, which was a good one for him.
Yeah.
Yes, he's getting on in age, but he will always be a fan favorite. Novak Djokovic will always be a fan favorite. He will always be a force to reckon with when it comes to Grand Slam tennis. He's gunning for that number 25. He will be 38 in this year. But on the plus side for him, a certain Gael Monfils became the oldest person to win an ATP Tour event at 30. So age is nothing but a number for the likes of Novak. He just wouldn't rule him out. Likes of Alcaraz, Taylor Fritz, like I said, will be there to make sure that Novak doesn't get a number 25. But I'm sure himself and his fans, like me, I'm a fan of Novak Djokovic. It's going to be an exciting time for us as we wait to see whether our hero will get that number 25. We'll be rooting for him.
Talking about rooting for Novak Djokovic, you talked about his age 38 years already, and if he wins the Australian Open, he would definitely be, one of the oldest male Grand Slam winner at the Australia. In fact, this Open era, we've never seen, a winner of the Grand Slam that is as old as 38. So do you think he'll be slowed down by age and not by desire to be the man with the highest number of Grand Slam titles, both for male and female?
He has already been slowed down by age, and he has wisely began to pick and choose the tournaments he goes for. He concentrates for the past 3 or 4 seasons. He's been concentrating purely on the Grand Slams and major ATP Tour events. He has been slowed down by age. It was really evident last season. You could see the way he lost in all of the Grand Slam challenges, winning, getting victory only in that Olympic tennis. So he has been slowed down, but himself and he brought on Andy Murray, and we hope that pairing between himself and Andy Murray will yield good fruits in this Australian Open, or at least give him that one last Grand Slam. Because for me, I think he's nearing retirement. Even if he won't tell you that age is beginning to catch up with him, has caught up with him already. He's nearing retirement, but he's still eyeing that one Grand Slam. And if he doesn't do it at the Aussie Open, we hope he does it this year, and he just ends the year with that one Grand Slam that will take him to Grand Slam number 25.
Okay, I'm at loss why he chose Andy Murray as his coach going forward.
Andy Murray, Andy Murray has a very good record against Carlos Alcaraz, who has Djokovic's nemesis. So that's I was also at a loss initially when he announced Andy Murray as his coach. But when I look back at it, I went back to check Andy Murray's record. He has a good record against Carlos Alcaraz. And then, of course, if you marry that with Djokovic, who still wants to play, who still feels he has something to offer, if he picks 1 or 2 advice, 1 or 2 wisdom tips from Andy Murray on how to beat Alcaraz, who happens to be one of the greatest players right now on the tour, you could see why he has gone for Andy Murray at his coach. So I want to believe that pair is going to yield fruits, like I said, and we're going to see Grand Slam number 25. Don't forget that Atn Murray himself is a Grand Slam winner, and he's still very young. As a coach, he's still very young. This is his first big job as a coach, and he wouldn't want to disappoint. So I'm sure that pairing of Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic is going to yield very good fruits come the Aussie Open.
Well, the Australian Open is here with us in just about a few hours from now. The city of Brisbane, and of course the Rod Arava Arena will heat up with big name players, trying to seek for a lot of money that is at stake. Tomorrow we continue to look at the Australian Open fixture, especially in the very first round, both for male and female. I'm sure you share your in-depth knowledge of the Grand Slam with us. We'll take a break now. We don't go anywhere, because when we return, we'll look at the CAF Confederations Cup matches. It's match day 5 in both the Champions League and in the CAF Confederations Cup. Can our own Enyimba International enter into the quarter-final stage of the competition? This question will be answered when we return for the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's Sports Extraordinary Weekend Edition here on Atlantic Television Network, and we'll bring you up to speed with the latest happening around the weekend in sports. And we've told you how it's been very difficult for, do I say, some of its stars to maintain momentum before the Australian Open. But Aryna Sabalenka continues to do that by winning her first title, and beyond that, we've seen earnest preparation by Novak Djokovic to make history by being the very first tennis player, both male and female, to win as many as 25 Grand Slam titles. No other person has done that before. We only have Margaret Court with 24. And so the man you see on your screen there could be the history maker if he wins this year's Australian Open. Enough of tennis. Kingsley is here. And so Kingsley, let's look at the CAF Football Cup competitions for the year 2024-2025. It is match day 5 this weekend across some African countries, some stadia across the African country. And first, let's look at the CAF Champions League. After match day 5, we've had only one. In fact, before match day 5, we had only one team qualify for the quarterfinal stage of the competition, and that was Al Hilal of Sudan. And I'm shocked that a name like Al Hilal could be the very first to qualify when there are several other big name teams in that CAF Champions League.
For me, I think if you take a look at it, they actually started very well in the group stage of the competition. Had a very impressive performance. If you take a look at their group, they are seated in Group A. With about 10 points after 5 games they've played so far. I think for me it's really been an impressive one for Al Hilal. They've done so well for themselves. No one will of course expect them to have maybe top the group where you have the likes of MC Olga, Young Africans of Tanzania, and the likes of TP Mazembe as well. This is a very tough group, but Al Hilal of course came from nowhere and topped that particular group. I think for me there's a massive football development down there in Sudan, and that's why of course we're seeing them coming up with this impressive one performance in the CAF Champions League. We'll see how of course they progress in the competition, being the first of course to qualify. For me, I think is a huge one. It's a statement of intent for them that they can possibly challenge up down to the final of this particular one. You
talked about TP Mazembe. This is a team that's won the CAF Champions League before. I think they've won it twice, but they seem to be struggling in the year 2024-2025. Right now as we speak, only a few hours ago, they were beating MC Aga of Algeria by one goal to nothing, and that was an away defeat for TP Mazembe, which ensures that now they have crashed out of the competition. They do not have any chance with one more game to go to qualify for the quarterfinal stage. TP Mazembe, former champion, crashing out at the group stage of the competition.
So sad. So sad, very disappointing. I didn't really actually see this coming, and if you take a look at it, it's as a result of them of course slacking. I understand of course they actually missed some couple of their players who were there for some time. They didn't have the same set of players going into this one, and that's why we saw them having this level of poor performance. After playing I think about 4 to 5 games, they just settled down with just 2 points and rocking the bottom with. So in fact they have been eliminated. They don't have the chance, of course, to qualify to the next stage of the competition. For me, it's a very surprising one at this point in time, and this shows, much intent, much competition in African football to tell you that other countries are also stepping up their game. The likes of Hilal of Sudan, you just mentioned, MC Olga, who actually thought MC Olga was going to have a very impressive performance, in this particular group, and beating TP Mazembe as well, a team who has won the competition before. So for me, it's the game of football. You have to be very much prepared. And I think for me, the level of preparation of TP Mazembe, not having the best of leg going into this one, and just really cost them this particular one.
TP Mazembe crashing out of this year's CAF Champions League. Okwi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okwi, you follow African football a lot. TP Mazembe, the side from Congo, had been champions before. They were in the group that they had MC Aga, Al Hilal of Sudan. Now they seem they have crashed out. In fact, they are coming bottom in their group. Are you surprised that this is not the Congolese side that was fearsome at the stage?
Quite surprised, because their name translated means Almighty Mazembe. I'm surprised they are a household name to reckon with in Congolese football and also in African football. It's unfortunate what has happened to them, but this just tells you, like Kingsley has said, the other clubs are stepping up. Other countries, other parts of Africa are stepping up their game, and we see emergence of some unknown clubs, stepping up to challenge the traditional names like TP Mazembe. But on the plus side for them, they are the female side. Their female team just won the Champions League. So it's maybe good. Fans of TP Mazembe should hold on to that one first. While they grieve about the poor performance of the male side, they should just hold on to that win from the female side and hope that next season good things will come back to TP Zone, the almighty TP Mazembe.
Almighty now, no longer mighty. They have they've crashed out of this year's competition. Okay, still looking at the Champions League. Just a few minutes ago, we saw Mamelodi Sundowns travel all the way to Angola, and they beat the home side, Mariana Union, by 2-1 to improve their chances of qualifying alongside FAR of Rabat in their group stage. Do you see Mamelodi Sundowns, in their last game, maybe upsetting the team from Morocco?
Mamelodi Sundowns is another team that has underperformed this season. I don't know the reason for their underperforming. When Pito Mosimane was there, remember they were former African Champions League champions, and then I really don't know the reason for their slump. But I think in the first game of this competition, they won away, but since then they've struggled. So, but I want to believe that they have all it takes. They have the experience, they have the fans behind them, and they have the players to pull them out of this slump. And I still believe they can do it when come the last day.
I'm sorry, Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa now has 8 points in that group. They have same number of points with FAR of Rabat, but FAR Rabat is in the already waiting for their counterparts from Raja. They will play tomorrow. If FAR draw this match, they of course already qualified for the group stage of the competition. But Raja from Casablanca seem to have a different idea, struggling with an idea of waiting for their last group fixture to know whether they can upstage Mamelodi Sundowns from the second place position in that group.
Sorry, I seem to be having some network issues. I really didn't get your last question. I don't know if you can just come again for me.
Okay, I was saying that FAR of Morocco leads in their group, but tomorrow they will come up against Raja in a very crucial Day 5 fixture. If Raja beats FAR, then they can come close by 1 point to the second place Mamelodi Sundowns. Then the last group game will be very crucial. But for now, it is Raja up against FAR of Morocco tomorrow. What they call the Moroccan Derby comes up in the CAF Champions League tomorrow.
Yes, for FAR and Raja, I really don't know. I want to believe that for the Moroccan Derby, I want to give it to Raja Casablanca. Reasons be that FAR have had their struggles, even last season also. I pitch my tents with FAR Rabat. Like I said, I've had their struggles. I want to pitch my Casablanca to win this one, to join either Mamelodi Sundowns and the other team in the final.
Okay, well, I just have to inform you that so far they are the leaders of that group, and there's no way they will not qualify. I think it is now between Mamelodi Sundowns and Raja to see who comes second in that group. Well, let's stay away now from the CAF Champions League. Okay, let's look at the CAF Confederations Cup, the second tier football competition here in Africa. So far, it is only, I think, RS Makeni, that's what they are called, from Morocco, that has qualified into the quarterfinal stage. The other groups are still very open. And one of the groups have our own Enyimba International. Tomorrow at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo, Enyimba International will be up against their counterparts from, what do you say it again? Amazri of Egypt. That's what they are called. Yes, Amazri of Egypt. Do you see Enyimba winning Amazri tomorrow to have a chance of coming second in that group? Because if they don't, then their chances of qualifying from the group will be dim, even with one match to spare. Well, I think we have to reconnect with Okwi on that one shortly. But Kingsley, Enyimba International, under the guidance of a new coach, Stanley Eguma, is at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium tomorrow in a bid to see how they can qualify into the quarterfinal stage of the CAF Confederations Cup.
I think for me, this is going to be a very intense encounter at this point in time, because when you take a look at it, Amazri, they've been a fantastic side in that group. They are actually second after Zamalek, with 5 points. Eyimba, I understand they've been struggling for some time now, but thank God they were able to win against the Black Bulls, and then as well coming back home, they won against Nasra United. I think those 2 wins has been a moral booster for Eyimba Football Club. Facing Amazri, especially the fact that they'll be playing at home, I think that would be another level of confidence.
They were at home against Bull last weekend. Yeah. They were able to beat Bull or Mozambique, I think by 4 goals to 1, is it?
Yeah, 4 goals
2-0 in the next game. Then now they have the consecutive home fixture against the Egyptian side. Every time a Nigerian side comes up against Egyptian side, it's always a tricky tie.
Yeah, it was always a tricky tie. Always a tricky tie, especially teams coming from North Africans. They are always very, very tough, for a Nigerian side. But we hope that this won't be the same. We hope this will be a different case at this point in time for Eyimba. I think the winning mentality is already in the team at this point in time. Looking at the infusion of a new coach in the person of Stanley Guma. Stanley Guma has been in this stage of the competition, and he knows what it takes, especially to play this North African side as well, even Amazri, as a team. So I think with the help of Stanley Guma, and as well some of the players who have done well so far, talking about the likes of Joseph Atule, they talk about Brandy Day. These are players that have really stepped up their game in the team. I think for the fact that they're going to be there, it's really going to be an interesting one for Eyimba Football Club. We just hope that they do all they can this weekend to get to 3 points, because it is a must-win for Eyimba Football Club.
Eyimba, no doubt, must win this one. Eyimba with Stanley Guma, who has won the CAF Champions League before, should know how to navigate the CAF Confederations Cup. Especially, he did same with Rivers United or Dolphins in the days of Yo. Now, but let's quickly bring you 1 or 2 results from the CAF Champions League. Just about now, it's going just they're in added time. Ahali seem to have bounced back to the top of their group because of a 2-1 win over Stade Malien as we speak, and so I think that's a very good result for them. And it's been a draw situation, Kingsley, in the other fixture involving the Angolan side Sacramento against Pyramids as well. It's goalless in that fixture as we speak. So we hope that by tomorrow we'll return for another edition of Sports Extra. We'll give you results of the matches that have been played, and of course what we expect tomorrow as well in the CAF Champions League. It's getting very interesting. Like we told you, Eyimba International will be at the Gospel of Bible Stadium tomorrow up against a very difficult opponent. But we have to wrap up the show, and now we have to do that with our Sports Extraordinaire for the weekend. In the next 2 weeks or thereabout, it will be tough action at the Australian Open. Aryna Sabalenka has shown that she's ready. She's won the title already in Brisbane, and she's won 28 out of 29 fixtures so far this year.
Very deserving, if you ask me. Very, very deserving, especially when you take a look at the level of performance so far. And getting down to this Australian Open, you definitely, of course, want to give her that particular one, because she looks to be the favorite, despite the fact that we have other big names. But the form and the confidence level of Aryna Sabalenka has given her the go-ahead.
If you're a follower of Sports Extraordinary, don't miss it tomorrow, because the Air Clasico is coming up in Saudi Arabia tomorrow. Promises to be very thrilling. Real Madrid up against FC Barcelona. These teams are actually this year. They score 4 goals past each other, and so it promises to be very thrilling in faraway Saudi Arabia tomorrow. So we'll feature that as our main course for discourse. And until then, remember, peace and unity are clearly pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network.
Front lines.